Canada Day, everybody. Woohoo! Happy Canada Day. So it's Canada Day here in Canada. That's where I'm from. So happy Canada Day, everybody. And let's get into the news of the day. This is a news of the day video. Yeah, it's a holiday, but I don't take holidays. Is that a slogan? Okay, so as I said, it's Canada Day, and today it's a happy birthday for Steve Shutt, the legendary left winger of the Montreal Canadiens. He turned 68 today. So Steve Shutt, happy birthday and happy Canada Day. Carey Price is back in Montreal. I was going to do this video yesterday. I believe he arrived either yesterday or the day before, but he is back in town. So I guess that's a pretty positive sign that at least he feels things might happen. And I don't know, because he's been at home. He's kind of, I know he doesn't really want to play. He does want to play because he'd like to win a cup, but with all the conditions, he's really concerned. There was an interview with him, and but he's back in Montreal, so I think that's a sign that things are going to happen. Like I said, I was going to do this yesterday, and I kind of gather information. If there's not enough news on one day, I'm not going to really do a video. So this is from the 29th. It was going to be on this day, the 29th, June 29th, 2016. That's the trade for PK Subban for Shea Weber. That happened then. Turned out, I think, my opinion, that it was a good trade for Montreal. And you can let me know what you think in the comment section. It's still a raging debate 4 years later here in Montreal. On the same day in 1990, the Habs traded Chris Chelios straight up for Denis Savard. So they traded Chelios to Chicago. I believe the reason was, oddly enough, Montreal kind of felt Chelios had peaked, and this was like whatever they had, this was the best. He was going to kind of go slowly downhill after that, and they traded him for Savard, who they should have picked up 10 years earlier in the 1980 draft instead of picking up Doug Wickenheiser first overall. So that happened on the 29th, June 29th, in 1990. June 29th is, no, that's not his. Also June 29th, they announced 15 more positive tests during phase 2, which brings the total to 26. But you have to remember there's something that's really important. And John over at Hot Take Hockey, I was watching his video last night, and it really is important. I think people kind of lose that. Phase 2, there's no bubble at all in phase 2. The players are coming into phase 2 by being, some of them have been out and about because, you know, restrictions have been lifted in a lot of places, and that's probably where these guys have been picking this up. So I would expect that it'll be somewhat better in phase 3, and especially in phase 4 when they go into a heavy bubble situation. So with that, anyway, so far 26. Now it's not all players, but it's 26 players and staff that have tested positive. Signing bonuses are due today. There was talk about having some kind of an agreement. It doesn't seem like the NHL and the NHLPA agreed on this point about signing bonuses. So there may have been something that happened last night. They were negotiating. There's some things that came out of that. So this might change. I did not find out anything specifically about this today. It seems that signing bonuses are getting paid. There are a few Canadiens that... there's 24 Habs players that are set to receive signing bonuses. I'll just give you a few of them. Carey Price, $8.75 million. Jonathan Drouin, $2 million. Brendan Gallagher, $1.75 million. Ben Sherratt, $1 million. And Alex Romanov gets $92,500. And that's just to list a few. The total, I believe, is a little over $18 million just for Montreal. And it's somewhere a little over $300 million for the league. So that's due today. I should throw that in. Carolina Hurricanes owe Sebastian Aho just under $10 million today. I wonder how that's going over there. Bob McKenzie is saying that there's an interim extension on all expiring contracts because, as everybody knows, Canada Day, July 1st, is usually free agent day. That's the first day that free agents can be signed. Their contracts are done with their former teams, and there's usually a lot of action going on today. It's not happening. They're extending it, obviously, through the playoffs. So any player can. Oh, also he's reporting. Any player. My dog is reporting stuff right now outside. So hang on a second. Okay, so they're also reporting, or Mackenzie, any player can opt out of this return to play. This is part of the agreement that any player who does not feel comfortable will be able to opt out. So that was a question of whether they're allowed to or not if they don't have physical problems, medical problems, but any player for any reason can opt out. He also feels that players like Romanov and Kiprizov from Minnesota and Sorokin from the Islanders that signed contracts during the pause, that it's funny because on Twitter last night somebody was reporting that Francois Gagnon says that it looks like they're going to be allowed to play. The source wasn't really good. I wrote it down here. I was going to say that. I don't know if it's a good source or not, but when Bob McKenzie is saying he doesn't think that they're going to be allowed, that I think it takes a little more precedence. So these are the guys, like I said, that signed contracts during the pause, and I believe also didn't have a starting date on the contract, which is what threw a monkey wrench into the gears, apparently. That's what I had heard, and they won't be allowed to play, apparently. According to McKenzie, usually McKenzie's right, but he does give a stipulation that things could change at the last minute. They're happening fast and furious, but this is his best guess right now after the negotiations that happened apparently through the night. Elliot Friedman is also reporting that with all these negotiations, part of the new CBA that they're trying to agree on is going to be a clause for the players to be allowed to play at the Olympics as long as there's an agreement with the IOC, which I think will happen. So it looks like sometime in the near future, don't know when the Olympics will come back, but the hockey players will be allowed to play again. And that's good because I have to tell you, Olympic hockey, when the NHL players are involved, it's really good hockey, and I really enjoy that. Next up, Eric Engels reported yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, that he talks to a lot of players. Obviously, he's a reporter. And he's saying, and maybe as much as 75% of the players don't want to take part in the return to play. Now, that being said, he also is reporting that players will, more than likely, he'd be surprised if they don't, they will agree to the proposal, and he doesn't figure too many players will opt out. And that's according to players he's talked to. He's not saying that, and this is from what players are telling him. So even though the players don't really feel like they want to do this because they're not 100% sure yet about the safety aspect and all that stuff, he believes that the players will sign the agreement, and this will at least try to happen, right? Things could still throw it off if there's a ton of tests, a ton of players get sick, a whole team. I mean, it's gonna cancel things, but unless that happens, yeah, he thinks the players will say yes to it. Now, the big kind of breaking news today, and it's not really breaking news because it's still not 100% official. Breaking news is really when something has officially been announced and then it's breaking news. So this isn't really, but everyone's using it like that. So Bob McKenzie also says that barring any last-minute complications, and he said, look at Vancouver, it did happen, and Vegas, it did happen. But barring any last-minute complications, Edmonton and Toronto are going to be the hub cities. So I want to sort of pat myself on the back because I did say one of the first, I'm not sure I'm the only one, but a couple of weeks ago, I was saying that it's looking like the way things are going to happen, and I was expecting this rise in the States. And because of that, I said, I think maybe we're going to get a couple of the two hubs in Canada because the numbers in Canada compared to the States are way different. It's apples and oranges. And it looks like that's what's going to happen. So the two hubs, yeah, Edmonton and Toronto. And then that way it gives you an actual east-west hub. So we'll see if that's able to be pulled off. Where was I on that? Yeah, that's it. So I think that's it. That's the big news of the day. So today's big news is the Hub City announcement that should come by, I would think it's going to come today. If it doesn't come today, it's coming tomorrow. But if Bob McKenzie is putting it out there that this is where they're at, and there's no, I mean, they're eliminated the other teams. There's only Edmonton and Toronto basically left in it. It's going to be Edmonton and Toronto. So, and you know what? It's the right decision because basically it is apples and oranges with what's going on in Canada and what's going on in the U.S. right now with the numbers. The U.S. numbers skyrocketing. Canada's numbers, we're leveling off. We're actually seeing really flat numbers. I mean, that could change. There's still a little down the road for all this to happen. But it looks like no matter how it changes, even in Canada, we won't go skyrocketing like they are in the States. Because we are actually doing something about it here. We listen. We're doing things a lot better here than in the States. We're not perfect here, but we're doing things a lot better. I know I am following as many guidelines as I can to keep safe, and I know a lot of people around me are too. Okay, so once again, happy Canada Day. It's a great day in Canada. It's moving day. Here in Quebec, it's moving day. So that means our leases go from July 1st to June 30th. So a lot of people are moving today. My lease is different. I don't actually have to deal with it. I'm in October. Yeah, so it's a big day for that. I hope if you are moving, that when you do see this, that everything went well and smoothly. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And while you're down there doing that, please leave me any comments. Like my cat is giving me a comment right now. Leave me any comments in the comment section about any of these stories. What do you think about it? What do you think the chances are maybe of this actually happening and we get to phase 4? So do that in the comment section. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and ring that notifications bell. And that's going to get you your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge right here at Talkin' Habs. So happy Canada Day from Talkin' Habs. And thanks for watching this video. And peace out, everybody. See you next video.